Lagos Talks
91.3.
News.
The House of Representatives has summoned the Governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Godwin Emefiele, over the new cash withdrawal limit policy by the bank. And this follows the decision by the Senate yesterday, Thursday, to seek clarifications from the central bank on the new policy. The lawmakers had also demanded that the policy be suspended. The resolution was passed during Thursday's plenary following the adoption of a motion of urgent public importance moved by the Chairman, House Committee on Power, Magaji Dau Aliu of the APC, Jigawa State. It resolved that Godwin Emefiele appear before it next Thursday. In a memo issued on Tuesday this week, signed by the Director of Banking Supervision, Haruna Mustafa, the Apex Bank had directed all banks and other financial institutions to ensure that over-the-counter cash withdrawals by individuals and corporate entities do not exceed 100,000 naira and 500,000 naira respectively per week. In a new development, the CBN had directed that only 200 naira and lower denominations should be loaded into the ATMs of banks. In the meantime, in updated reports, our correspondent reports that following public outcry over the new cash withdrawal limits, the CBN Bank Governor, Godwin Emefiele, has hinted that the Apex Bank may review the policy to accommodate various concerns. Addressing reporters after a visit to President Muhammadu Buhari in Daura, Katsina State yesterday to brief him about recent economic happenings in the country, issues bordering on the new currency redesign and the cashless policy, Emefiele said the Apex Bank will not be rigid with its policies. He added that the new policy is not targeted at any individual, but to promote the cashless policy which has been in existence since 2012.
This is not targeted at anybody. It is just meant for the good and the development of the Nigerian economy. And we can only just continue to appeal to Nigerians to please see this policy the way we have presented it. We will be reviewing from time to time how this is working, because I cannot say that we are going to be rigid, but it is not to say that we will reverse. It is not to say that we will change timing, but whether it is about tweaking some amount to be a little bit higher or a little bit lower and all the rest of it, we will do so because we are humans. We want to make sure that we make life good for our people. We do not want to make life difficult for them. So there's no need for anybody to worry. The central bank is monitoring what is happening, and I can assure everyone that we're alive to our responsibilities and we'll do what is right for Nigeria and Nigerians.
The CBN governor had also disclosed that the newly redesigned 200 naira, 500 naira, and 1,000 naira currency has now reached the banks for onward distribution to customers, as he also stated that the CBN and banks have taken in more than 500 billion naira old notes.
The banks have received the new cash and they have started dispensing them. I can only just assure everyone that it will go around. Let us just be calm. Luckily, the old currency continues to be legal tender till January 31, 2023. Now, I want to crack it. Both the painted and unpainted currency will operate concurrently as legal tender. But by January 31, the unpainted one will not be useful to you again. So please take it to your banks as quickly as possible. At the central bank, we have taken close to more than 500 billion, and with the banks, we also have close to about 500 billion. So what we've done in central bank is to move more people from different departments into currency processing so that they can process this cash as quickly as possible, and from there banks can now move what they have with them.
Away from that, the U.S. President Joe Biden has invited 49 African heads, including Nigeria's President Muhammadu Buhari, to Washington, D.C. for a 3-day U.S.-Africa Leaders Summit to be held December 13 to 15 this month. Also invited to the summit is the head of the African Union. The United States diplomatic mission to Nigeria in a statement said the summit will deepen U.S. partnerships with Nigeria and other African democracies. The mission further said the summit is also an opportunity for the United States and the American people to reiterate their profound and enduring interest in engaging with Africa as a whole. The Chief of Defense Staff, General Lucky Irabo, has debunked a recent publication by Reuters news agency of an alleged armed forces secret mass illegal abortion program amongst women and girls who were kidnapped and raped by Islamist militants in the country's northeast, arguing that such allegations were mere figments of the writer's imagination. General Irabo, who made this known while featuring at a weekly briefing of the presidential villa, maintained that nothing of such occurred during his time as theater commander of Operation Lafia Dole, the anti-insurgency operation of the military in the country's northeast, stressing the need for public reorientation, particularly as it relates to the Nigerian military operations across the geopolitical zones.
What the allusions they made is news to me. It never occurred. I never saw anything like that. Both from the detention center in Giwa project, than to Malaria Cantonment, where I lived, where we have 7 Div Hospital. That was our major hospital for the treatment of our personnel and their families, and especially the wounded. That again, we had unfettered access by all the members of the media. I recall the engagement I had with the media, all true, and I take them there to all the wards, except, of course, the mortuary that we were trying to build at the time.
General Irabo reassured Nigerians that the armed forces will remain non-partisan towards the 2023 general elections, despite the constant pressure through inducements to compromise the forthcoming elections.
The armed forces have to heighten operational engagement across the country to tackle contemporary security challenges. And then, of course, the contingency plans that will facilitate the smooth conduct of the 2023 elections is also part of what we've been able to put in place. The police, of course, is the lead in this, but we believe that we'll be at the periphery to give assistance as requested by INEC. So that I thought is also so no. We will not be at the forefront, but we believe that where there is need for us to intervene to assist the police, we do. So we've been able to in place contingency measures that will enable us to be able to play a role in that sense.
The Department of State Services, the DSS, has ordered the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, the NNPC Limited, and oil marketers to make premium motor spirit, better known as petrol, available for Nigerians in the next 48 hours. DSS spokesman Peter Afunaya announced the directive while briefing reporters at the headquarters of the secret police in Abuja after over 3 hours closed-door meeting with stakeholders in the petroleum sector. He said failure to comply, the DSS will activate its operations across the country. According to Afunaya, the challenge of fuel scarcity has assumed a dimension which is detrimental to the security of the country. Vehicle owners have had to wait on long queues, especially in Lagos and Abuja, to get petrol from filling stations. Minister of Works and Housing Babatunde Raji Fashola-San says the second Niger Bridge will only be open to traffic from December 15, 2022 to January 15, 2023 as part of measures being taken by the federal government to ease the movement of goods and services for the Christmas festivities. He explained that while the construction of the bridge has been completed, work is still ongoing on the roads linking the bridge to the major highway. Fashola said this while answering questions from journalists after the Ember Month's meeting with stakeholders and contractors handling various road projects across the country held yesterday in Abuja. Fashola noted the government had received the commitment of contractors as well as the Federal Roads Maintenance Agency to carry out remedial work on various critical roads to ease movement during the festive season, where a lot of movement is recorded on the roads. Nollywood actress Mercy Johnson-Okoje had caused a stir on the internet when she openly declared her support for the All Progressives Congress and its candidates in the 2023 elections. The actress had this week shared pictures of herself with the governor of Lagos State, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, announcing her membership as part of the APC Women Presidential Campaign team during the APC Women Southwest rally this week. The actress had declared that as a woman and as a wife to an APC candidate, her husband, Prince Okoje, and a mother, she is confident in the APC plan for women, which is in line with the 35% affirmative action for women. Her post, however, did not go down well with many fans who took to Twitter to condemn the actress's decision, making Mercy Johnson one of the trending topics this week on social media. Outside the country, the US and Russia have exchanged jailed US basketball star Brittney Griner for notorious arms dealer Victor Bout, held in an American prison for 12 years. Speaking at the White House, President Joe Biden had confirmed that Griner was safe and on a plane home from the United Arab Emirates. Griner was arrested at a Moscow airport in February for possessing cannabis oil and last month sent to a penal colony. The Biden administration proposed a prisoner exchange last July, where Moscow had long sought Bout's release. Russia's foreign ministry had confirmed the swap with a Russian citizen and added that it had taken place at the Abu Dhabi airport. A joint Saudi-UAE statement revealed that Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman had taken a leading role in mediation efforts, along with UAE President Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan. And up next is business news. The federal government recorded deficit spending of 593 billion naira in August this year, representing 7% higher than 554.21 billion naira recorded in the previous month. The increased deficit was driven by 4.2% month-on-month increase in capital expenditure, which moderated the impact of a 1.7% month-on-month increase in federal government's revenue, as well as 10.8% month-on-month decrease in debt service in August. The Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, disclosed this in its economic report for August, which showed that federal government recorded 639.47 billion naira as retained revenue in August, representing 1.7% month-on-month increase from 629.03 billion naira in July. Aggregate expenditure also rose 4.2% month-on-month to 1.23 trillion naira from 1.18 trillion naira in July. And now some sports reports this morning. Before we go, the federal government has redeemed its pledge of a house to former coach of the Super Eagles, Clemens Westerhof, who led the Eagles to win their second African Cup of Nations title in 1994. House and Works Minister Babatunde Raji Fashola, who was represented by the Director of Public Building, architect Solomon Labafilo, had handed over the key to the house to the former gaffer at the prototype housing estate Gwagwalada, Abuja, explaining that the house allocation was a fulfillment of the promise the government made to the victorious 94 Super Eagles team, who won the African Cup of Nations 28 years ago. He also added that other ex-Super Eagles players of the team had also been given their houses at the respective states of their choice.
So, to show the commitment of Mr. President, that was why they were given free chance where you want your houses to be located. We'll capture it in our program. Like where we are now is the prototype housing scheme in Gwagwalada. We have two phases here. Phase 1 and 2. Where we are is phase 2. And you recall those that chose Delta, the Super Eagles, we handed over the houses to them, about 6 of them.
Lagos Talks
91.3.